This is a trade recap of 829. So we started with this pretty big gap down, and in generally a big gap down, especially in this case where we were gapping under green, I tend to lean bearish. So I was already in the mode of looking for shorts, especially if we were going to stay underneath the open. Now I knew if we were going to get a rather big day, I was kind of looking to aim for this 23,467 area where we held this pretty clear support in the earlier in the week. Right. But we also had a level that was kind of at the top of this range here, right? The 3 day range that I was looking for it to break. Right. I knew that if we could break into it and under this first level, we had a chance to come down to the bottom of the range and just kind of play more of a range day. So looking at this on the 5 minute here, right? We had this first level here that I was looking to get under the 630 level. And once we got under that level, I was kind of in the mood for shorts, right? And what we could do for the day. So once we were under this level, this first level is 630, I was just looking for some sort of rally into it. And that kind of happened right here at 642. So my entry on 642 is really, I took a little bit earlier an entry, just kind of as this candle was flipping red. And my main target here was really just this 471. I ended up taking it off a little bit early, right around here, because I'd moved my initial stop was the open, which was my entry was it was around 615 or 610. I mean, so I usually tend to have about 40 point stops, which is kind of large, but I size small enough where it doesn't hurt me on any given day, right? So my stop was closer to the open. Um, it was somewhere around here in the 40s. And I know it wasn't necessarily a candle stop, which I generally like to use, but 40 points is generally my stop, and I kind of adjust depending on how the trade's going. Knowing that with having a 40 point stop, my general target's about 100 points, right? And that changes depending on the situation, depending on how the dynamic R is looking. So as we broke into new lows and we didn't really have a place to trail, okay, my stop eventually just came right here, lowered it to about a 15 point stop. And when we broke this rally, I moved my stop up down to here. And really, I've kind of slowly started moving it down and got stopped out a little early, but it was still a good 60-ish point trade. But yeah, so that was that day. I kind of wish I just let it, run a little more, but shorts generally aren't my favorites. Just more long biased in general. So that was that day, and you can see it kind of just ranged out of the bottom here for the rest of the day. I think going into next week, though, you can already see this is the daily chart with the after hours on. I generally keep after hours off on the daily, just helps me visualize things a little better. But you can see we're kind of holding here coming into next week. Monday is the holiday, so tomorrow, Tuesday, will be the first day, and we'll see how we hold. I don't know. I think it's kind of going to be a choppy week because when you look at the weekly, we're kind of just we're kind of on this double inside bar, right? I would prefer us to be outside of a weekly, or at least on one of the extremes of the weekly. I think if we kind of come under this 367 area, I think we might go and test the low of this range here. I wouldn't be surprised if this holds, though. Just kind of I like looking at with after hours off. If you look at the daily, like if we're gonna hold here and give a good test, I think this is a pretty good area of support. But I think if this falls, we have a good lot of room down kind of this 23,000 area. And yeah, that's my day. Thanks for watching. Bye.